Hi boys and girls. Today we are going to be doing a lesson called 4 or more addends. Addends are the numbers that you add together to get your sum. So usually we do two numbers. We add two numbers like 2 plus 3. 2's an addend, 3's an addend. You get your sum of 5. Today what we're going to work on is adding 4 or more numbers. So we're going to have a good time. But before we start, I have some quick looks for you. Here you go. I think that one's an easy one. Hopefully you got it. Did you say 11? Did you slide over? Slide them all over and have the one extra, right? So you filled your tens frame and had the one more. How about this one? Slide them over, see how many you have left. What was your answer? Did you say 13? I just did that, slid those over, knew I had 10, and then I had the 3 left. Okay, and the last one. What'd you say for that one? Hopefully you knew that the whole frame was full except for one. So if the whole frame is 10, then if there's one missing, it's 9. So 9 plus 9 is 18. Okay, awesome, good warm-up. Our second part of our warm-up is going to be mental math, right? We're figuring in our head. And in the mental math today, we're going to do adding 3 numbers. And our 3 numbers are just single-digit numbers. In the lesson we're going to add bigger numbers, but this is just a warm-up. So what I want you to do is take a look at these first ones right here and tell me what you think. 7 plus 7 plus 3. When you're doing this in your head, boys and girls, you want to make things easy for yourself. So I know, oh, 7 plus 3, that's 10, that's easy. And then 7 more. So 10 plus 7. Or if I know my doubles, 7 and 7 is 14, then 3 more. So group them how you want, just do it easy, the easiest way you can. So this second one, I wrote it a little different. We have the answer here, then we've got 4 plus 6 plus 5. For me, I know 4 plus 6 is 10, and then 5 more, so my answer is 15. If it's easier for you to do 6 plus 5 is 11, because you know 5 and 5 is 10, so 5 and 6 is 11, and then add 4 more, you can do that too. Okay, here's 2 more. Try these in your head. So hopefully on this one, you did 5 plus 5, you knew was 10, and then 6 more was the 16. Hopefully you're not counting on your fingers to do your plus 10s. You shouldn't be doing that anymore. And then in the next one, we had 6 plus 2. However is easiest. If it's easiest for you to do 6 and 6 is 12, and then 2 more is 14, or if it's easier for you to do 6 plus 2 is 8, and 6 more is 14. Whatever way, group 2 of them, and then add that third one. Here's the last ones. So you've got 5 plus 6 plus 1. I did this. I did 5 plus 1 is 6, and then 6 and 6 is 12 for my answer. And then here we did a plus 4. Kind of easy one. But I did 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 more is 4, 2 more is 6. So again, when you're doing those, what you have to do is make sure you find the easiest way to group the numbers you can. Sometimes too, you might want to even cross off as you go. You know, that's another strategy that we've talked about. If I add the 5 and 1, cross it off so I know it's 6, and then add the 6 more. So whatever strategies you need to use to get the right answer. Okay? All right, so now I'm going to give you a chance to open your math journal to page 169. And it looks like this. And it says counting pencils at the top. If you don't have your math journal, stop the video, go grab your math journal and a pencil, and then start us up again. Okay? So it's on page 169. I'm going to read it to you. You can take a look at it. It says, Leah has 3 pencils. Thomas has 6 pencils. Nate has 7 pencils. How many pencils do they have in all? Remember, when we hear those keywords in all, it means we're putting them together, right? So we're adding them together. Now, the question, it says, solve the problem using any strategy and then share your strategy with your partner. Now, since you don't have a partner, then when you're done solving, then just share with mom, dad, brother, sister, whoever, okay? At the bottom here, or at this part right here, they want you to do a number model. So you'll do the number model here and the answer. Now you might think, well, why do I have all this space here? Probably to do what? Draw a picture, right? So draw a picture of how you solved. Maybe you're using tally marks. Maybe you're just using numbers. Maybe you're drawing it in base 10 blocks. I don't know. Whatever strategy you're going to use, do the picture here and the number model here. So again, this would be a good time to stop the video and solve the problem for counting pencils. And then when you're ready, come on back. All right, so now that you've solved the problem for counting pencils, I'm going to show you that your number model should have looked something like this. Leah had the 3 pencils, so there's my 3. Nate had the 7 pencils, or I'm sorry, Thomas had the 6 pencils, so there's my 6, and Nate had the 7 pencils, so there's the 7. When I solved this, I decided to group the 3 and the 7 together because that was easiest for me. I knew that was 10 right away. I've got to know those combinations of 10. So once you find those combinations of 10, it makes adding the other things easier. So I did my combination of 10 and then I added the 6. Okay. Now, if I were drawing my picture to show how I solved it, I might just do this. I could do tally marks like that, right? Or I could just do this. I could do it like that. I could show it with dots. I could do an open number line. I could do something like this, where I do an open number line. Remember how to do that? So any strategy you use is fine, as long as you're figuring out the way to get to the answer of the 16 pencils, okay? All right, so again, if you don't have a piece of paper, maybe go grab one, stop the video, go grab a piece of paper, because I'm going to give you another problem that I want you to work on, and you might need a little bit of room. So if you don't have paper, go grab some now. I'm going to read the problem to you and then I'll show it to you. So listen carefully. A theater has 100 seats. There's several schools coming to the theater. School number 1 has 21 kids. School number 2 has 13 kids. School number 3 has 42 kids. And school number 4 has 19 kids. The question is, are the 100 seats enough for all of these kids? So what I want you to do on the paper, and again, you're going to have to stop the video again. What I want you to do on your piece of paper that you just got is decide if 100 seats are enough for these 4 schools to bring the number of kids that they're bringing. So here it is. 21, 13, 42, and 19. So I want you to use that piece of paper that you got and decide if all these kids came, are 100 seats enough for them. So you're going to have to add these numbers up, right? These are our addends. Remember we said we're going to do, our math lesson today was on more than, 3 or 4 addends. Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So on your piece of paper, I want you to use whatever strategy you can to add together these 4 numbers, see what your total is, and tell me yes or no, it's enough for that they would all fit in those 100 seats. So again, turn the video off, work on your paper, and when you think you're done, then come back. All right, so hopefully you figured out that if you added those 4 numbers, and I know some of you might have used your number grid. That's always a great strategy, right? So you could have found 21 on your number grid and then added the 13 and then added the 42 and added the 19 and hopefully found out that you got to 95. So yes, there are enough seats for all of these kids. Now, if you didn't use your number line, if you used some other strategy and you got 95, that's okay too. What I'm going to show you today, what I'm going to teach you today are 2 different strategies that you can use for adding 3 or 4 addends, okay? The first strategy is called partial sums. Remember, the sum is the answer when you add. So to do partial sums, I'm going to show you what you do. The important thing is when you write down the numbers that you're using to add, it's important that you line them up. And what I mean is this. So you can see I wrote 21, 13, 42, 19. I put the ones under the ones. I put the tens under the tens. I have my equal sign and my plus sign to show that I'm adding. Okay, you don't want to do this. Okay, that's not going to work. You've got to line up your numbers, ones under ones, tens under tens. That's going to be very important. Put the addition sign and then this line on the bottom, that's your equal sign. That's saying 21 plus 13 plus 42 plus 19 equals, and then you'll put your answer. Okay, so to do partial sums, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the digits in the tens place. And when I look at it, I see a 2, 1, 4, 1. So I'm going to add those. 2, 3, 4, and then 4 more is 8. I'm in the tens place. I have 8 tens. 8 tens is how much? 8 tens is 80. You're right. So I'm going to write the 80 right there. My second step is to look in the ones column. Now, do you see why it's important to line up the tens and the ones? My second step is to look in the ones column, and I've kind of made the rectangle around it in green here. The tens were in blue. That's blue. Now I'm adding the ones. So I'm going to add the ones, and I'm going to add it in a way that's easiest for me. Again, I'm going to do 9 plus 1 is 10. 3 more is 13. 2 more is 15. So now I'm going to write down my 15. So you can see what I did. Here's my tens. I added them up. I got 80. Here's my ones. I added them up. I got 15. Now I take my tens and my ones and put those 2 numbers together. I do 80 plus 15 and I get 95. So 21 plus 13 plus 42 plus 19, my answer is 95. That's how you do partial sums. You do part at a time. You do the sum for the tens, you do the sum for the ones, and then you add those 2 together. Okay, that's one strategy you can use is partial sums. And you can have mom or dad at home give you some other problems to practice partial sums. Just ask them to do 2-digit numbers, and you can do 4 of them or you can do 3 of them. Make sure you line up your numbers, add the tens, add the ones, and then add those 2 numbers together. That's partial sums. There's also a video that you can watch that shows you how to do partial sums in the lesson plan for today. It also shows you another strategy, the second strategy. Instead of doing partial sums, you can also do, we call it adding with regrouping. I'm going to show you that same problem doing it this way. You can solve these problems doing partial sums or adding with regrouping, whichever is easiest for you. Again, when you're doing adding with regrouping, it's very important for you to line up the ones under the ones, the tens under the tens, have your equal sign and your plus sign, okay? When we did partial sums, we started looking at the tens. When we do adding with regrouping, we're going to start in the ones. So in the ones, I look, and again, I add 9 plus 1 is 10, 3 more is 13, 2 more is 15. Now, when I add that up and I have 15 ones, right? I think about my number 15. In the number 15, there's 5 ones and 1 10. So I'm going to take my 5 ones and put it right there in the ones. Now I've got this part of my 15, that's the tens. I've got to put it in the tens. So I'm going to do what is called regrouping, and I'm going to group it over here with my tens. Do you see the number 15? The 1 and the 5, right? That's my number 15. I've just split it apart. I've put the ones in the ones and I've put the 10 in the tens. Second step of this strategy is now I add up the tens, including that number that I regrouped. So I do 4, 5, 6, this number that I regrouped, 7, and 2 more is 9. So my answer is 95. I got the same thing when I did partial sums. I got 95, and with regrouping, I got 95. So I got the same answer both times. I just used 2 different strategies. Whatever strategy is easiest for you, partial sums or adding with regrouping, is the strategy you can use. Again, there's a video you can watch in today's lesson that will show you both of these strategies, okay? Also, have mom or dad give you a few more, and they can watch this video with you. If they're not sure how to do partial sums, you can show them, and you can practice on your home links. This takes a lot of practice, boys and girls, but this is something that you really need to know for 3rd grade. So practice, 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 okay? Have a good day. I miss you all, and keep working on that math.